Hey everybody, this is Danelle. Hope this finds you doing well. Today we're going to go over the cryptocurrency market as well as dig in a little bit deeper with regard to Bitcoin miners. They have definitely been in the headlines lately. They've outperformed Bitcoin actually year to date thus far. So let's learn a little bit more about Bitcoin miners, how they're doing, and how this could be used as a proxy to Bitcoin if you want to actually get into Bitcoin without actually buying the asset itself. So first, as usual, let's start off with the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin is currently trading at just over $30,000 at 30,143. It's down nearly 2% over the last 7 days. It actually dipped a little bit below $30,000 for a moment earlier this week, but it's now bounced back up to a little bit over 30,000. And it's now trading in that $30,000 range that it's basically been trading at for several weeks now. Ethereum is trading at $1,863 and it's down nearly 5%. And you can see a lot of the top 10 coins are down except for Solana. You see it's up over 7% and almost 8%, trading at $21. So it's had a nice little leap up over the past week. And Litecoin is in the top 10. So you can see it's jumped over Polygon. Polygon had been in the top 10 for a while. But Litecoin, I believe their halvening event, similar to what Bitcoin has, is upcoming. So I think there's a little bit of a pump due to that. But it's currently now down by 15% over the last 7 days. So some people who got in a little bit earlier, looks like they're taking some profits over this past week. So now we're just going to talk just really quick about one of the bigger news stories of the past week. Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, and we talked about BlackRock and them applying for the spot Bitcoin ETF, which had made a lot of major news and it helped Bitcoin actually make a jump up over the last several weeks. He has now done an interview where he talked about crypto revolutionizing finance and that Bitcoin is a international asset. Larry Fink had a change of heart on Bitcoin because several years ago he had made statements basically going against the digital asset. As you can see here from this tweet, Larry Fink in 2017 said Bitcoin is an index of money laundering, and he has now changed his mind on Bitcoin. And now his firm, especially given that they have received so many hits regarding interest in from their clients that are interested in buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, they are now, as an institution, they're looking to file for this Bitcoin ETF. So as you can see here, he went from 2017 saying it's an index of money laundering to now in 2023, Bitcoin could revolutionize finance. So it's just interesting how things can change, and it's happened with a lot of these institutions. But what most people are believing is that they're trying to give out a certain message to the public while they're doing other things behind the scenes. So while they're saying, oh, Bitcoin is bad, Bitcoin is this, they're actually probably collecting some of that Bitcoin, while it's on the low, trying to cause people to be afraid, create FUD potentially, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And all the while they're trying to build up their reserves, and then they start to come out and say, oh, Bitcoin is great, Bitcoin is amazing, Bitcoin is something that could revolutionize finance, and then people want to get back in and jump back in. So then that basically bigs their bags up, and then they're going to want to sell at the highs. So just be very careful with whatever you hear on the news, even from us. You want to make sure that you do your due diligence, especially if you're considering investing in this asset class that is still very volatile, and you want to make sure that you're doing your research and making sure that you're only investing what you can afford to lose at this point, because Bitcoin is still very volatile. As we've seen, it's gone up to $69,000 a couple of years ago and is now trading at $30,000, and had gone all the way down actually to around $16,000. So you can see there are heavy swings that can happen in the cryptocurrency market. So you definitely want to be very, very careful if you do decide to invest. Now, next we want to talk about, as we mentioned earlier at the top of the video, is we want to talk about cryptocurrency mining, particularly Bitcoin mining companies. So as you can see here, there are a number of Bitcoin mining companies that are actually public, that are public companies that can be traded, their stock can be traded on the stock exchange. And you can see here, these are some of the largest public Bitcoin mining companies: Riot, is a company that has been around for several years, and they currently have a market cap. This is a little bit of an outdated article, but their market cap now is about $2.71 billion. Mara is also another very popular and well-known mining company. They are currently trading at around a $2.67 billion market cap. And here are a couple other ones that are well known and are collecting a lot of Bitcoin during this time. Hut is another one. They're a little bit more of a smaller Bitcoin mining company, and their market cap is about $843 million currently. So if we go here to check out what the mining companies have done in terms of return on investment since the beginning of the year. So if you invested in Bitcoin or any of these other mining companies over the last 6 months, you can see what they've done year to date here. So here is a graphic showing you the rate of return for each of these mining companies compared to Bitcoin. So you can see here Bitcoin is in purple, and then Marathon, we chose 4 well-known stocks, some smaller. We picked 2 of the larger mining company stocks, and then we picked 2 of the smaller mining company stocks, just so you can have an idea. And you can see here Marathon has done over a 3x, excuse me, since the beginning of January. Same thing with Riot. Hut, you can see, has also done over 363% over the last 6+ months, and CleanSpark has done about a 3x at 198% over the last 6+ months, and that is much higher than Bitcoin, which is 80 something percent over the last 6+ months. So when you compare it to Bitcoin, you can see that there are higher returns currently, at least, with these mining plays. So it's something that a lot of investors who are looking into, because of the fact that sometimes, depending on the Bitcoin cycle and how well cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is doing, you can see how much of a return that you can receive investing in these mining companies. Now, you can see on this side of things, the positive side of things, Bitcoin did 80%, but the other mining companies did very well also. But then also, if Bitcoin starts to go down, then you can see that there's a possibility that even though Bitcoin may go down a little bit, the mining companies could go down a lot more. So you have to be very, very careful. Let's look at these stocks over the last 5 years, and you can see Bitcoin is in purple once again. So you can see this is the Bitcoin track, and you can see that Mara did ridiculous when Bitcoin was reaching its all-time highs. As you can see here at the bottom of the page, 61,000. When Bitcoin was around that 60-something thousand range, Mara did a ridiculous amount. You can see over 1,600%. And CleanSpark, which was a much smaller company at the time, was down 18%. So you just never know. You have to be very careful when you're looking to invest in the stock market, and particularly with Bitcoin mining companies, because they can dump just as hard, if not worse, than Bitcoin when Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are down. So another way to look at what's going on with Bitcoin and the mining companies, here is a list, and we've looked at this list before. This is a list of all the public companies and how much Bitcoin they own, and you can see a number of these companies are mining companies. So you have Mara, which we just talked about. They have over 12,000. They have the most Bitcoin on reserve. Then you also see Hut. They're actually doing pretty well, especially considering how low their market cap is. So that could potentially be an arbitrage, potentially, because their market cap is currently at $843 million, and they currently have 9,136 Bitcoin. So let's just do something really quick. We're going to see 1,136 Bitcoin times 30,000 Bitcoin. So currently that value is at $274 million. So they are trading actually a little bit over their current Bitcoin valuation, but I'm not sure. I'd have to do a little bit more digging into what other revenue streams they may have outside of Bitcoin. So some of these companies are overvalued. So a lot of people are trading off of the trends, but these are the things that you need to consider and look at when you're doing research, particularly when it comes to anything related to cryptocurrencies. Because of the volatility, it doesn't always trade according to sometimes logic. So if you want to look a little bit further and do your research, which is extremely important, we definitely advocate doing your research. We cannot, try to hammer home that message anymore. Make sure that you do your due diligence. One of the things that you may want to look at when you're looking and doing your due diligence on any company, not only the mining companies, but any stocks that you're interested in getting involved in, is looking at their public disclosures. So one of them is the Form 10Q, and it's basically a form that they have to file with the Security and Exchange Commission every quarter. And basically what it does is it breaks down everything with their financials. So you can see here that they go into the assets that they hold, the liabilities that they have, and you also get a chance to see the revenue that they're bringing in each quarter. And so it breaks it down thoroughly as to getting a better understanding of the financial health of a particular company. So they also do a comparison of what they did year over year. So you can see here they do a comparison of what they did in March of 2021. This is an older 10Q, as you can see, compared to what they did in March of 2020. So a lot of people like to see, well, how well have they done, not only quarter to quarter, but year over year? Is there a change? So here you can see there was a major change in their net income from 2020 to 2021, but part of that had to do with the fact that Bitcoin had its meteoric rise in 2021. So these are just one of the many things that you can look into when you're doing your research, but we definitely highly suggest that this be one of the things that you look at when you're considering getting into any of these mining companies, if you're interested in potentially getting into the stock market aspect of things when it comes to cryptocurrencies, because right now a lot of people still are not willing and do not want to buy the pure form Bitcoin. They want to have it regulated, and so a way that you can own into Bitcoin using a proxy basically is by investing in a public company using the stock market, because obviously there's certain protections that are there through the Securities and Exchange Commission when you buy and sell and trade stocks on the stock market. Now, still at the end of the day, you have to make prudent decisions when it comes to which stocks you want to get into and when you buy and sell, but at least there are some requirements that are needed when it comes to having your company listed on a stock exchange. So that's what BlackRock is trying to do by having this Bitcoin ETF. It's basically a proxy, once again, for Bitcoin, because they would be holding the underlying asset, but you would be able to trade that ETF on this stock exchange. So we still have yet to find out what the SEC has decided to do, and it still could be several months, if not a year, maybe next year, when we find out whether or not any of these ETFs that have been filed by a number of different investment firms and banks, whether or not they will get the go ahead. So we will definitely keep you posted, obviously, on anything related to these Bitcoin ETFs, but we just wanted you to have a general idea of what's going on with these mining companies, something definitely to look into and to watch out for, because as you can see, they have done very, very well this past 6+ months. So we definitely will be keeping an eye out on that. And we hope that you will continue to do as much research as you can as we all learn about this emerging asset class. Stay tuned here to Networkchain. We will keep you posted as much as possible. We look forward to connecting with you soon on the Networkchain. In the meantime, take care. Bye-bye.